On 9:15 a.m. If you have just tuned in, we welcome you to the show. Our listeners, our viewers on the various platforms of Salam Media this morning, and wonderful that you are with us on News and Views. I am Inayat Wadi. I'll be with you right until 10 a.m. And just looking ahead at the second hour of the broadcast this morning. Next up, we will be focusing on Zimbabwe, the exemption permit deadline, which looms, which is the 30th of June 2023. What does this mean for Zimbabwean nationals? Because we've learned about the South African government not extending the validity of Zimbabwean exemption permits past June 2023. We are also focusing this morning on Al Imdad Foundation, 20 years of making a difference on the African continent. And we also will be highlighting the Hammanskraal initiative. With Hassan Shazi, project coordinator on the ground in Hammanskraal. And later on in the program, we've got our build up to Hajj 2023. And this is part of our hashtag Hajj Diaries, the spiritual preparation for the journey of Hajj. And this morning, we will be talking with Maulana Dawood Sampson live out of the beautiful city of Medina, the city of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So looking forward to that discussion at around 10 minutes to 10 this morning, inshallah. And right now we're going across to be joined by one of the holders of the Zimbabwe exemption permits. We are talking with Mercy Dube. Mercy, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Yes, as an exemption permit holder and being of Zimbabwean origin, this decision by the South African government not to extend the validity of the exemption permit past June 2023. And this means that Zimbabwean nationals like yourself who holds a permit can only stay in South Africa until the 30th of June 2023. Am I right?
Yes, that's correct. And as of 1 July 2023, we will be regarded as illegal immigrants.
Yes. Now, at this point in time, where are you? And I'm sure that there are thousands and thousands of others who are sitting with this dilemma that you've got a month, basically, today being the 1st of June, you've got a month to stay in this country.
Yes, at the moment I'm based in Western Cape. And yes, you said there are a lot of people that feel confused or on what to do. And a lot of Zimbabwean ZEP holders have been applying for waivers, of which we also understand that is a very long process, as other people that have applied last year, they haven't received any feedback from the Department of Home Affairs. So in that sense, when you have even submitted your waiver application, you are also sitting in between, not knowing what really the outcome is going to be and what the decision then is going to be as well in terms of waiting and applying for or moving to the next step, which is to apply for the general working visa.
Yes. Now, just talking about this visa, in terms of securing the visa with Zimbabwe exemption permit holders, just take us through the process. Is it a long drawn process? Is it a complicated process? How easy or how difficult is it to take this now to the next level to apply for this visa?
It is a very difficult and complicated process, as there are legalities around it where a normal person without a legal background wouldn't definitely understand what it means. So, also, there are people who come across as agencies who are also exploiting and taking chances, um, pretending or claiming that they'll be able to assist the EP holders to apply for this permit. And when we are looking at a consultation just to get information, we are looking at about 1.5 to 2,000 rand for just a consultation to get information. And sometimes people end up going to, backdoor service providers to get information because when you look at immigration lawyers for consultation, it's also quite expensive. And then you have employers that are not willing to give, applicants necessary supporting documents for whatever reasons they find necessary. So it's a very long process in terms of also financially taxing, um, because the application for the waiver is about 1,550. Um, then you would have to do all the radiography reports, the police clearance if your waiver has been approved. So for the whole process, we are looking at something between 7,000 to 8,000 rand. And for a person who's earning probably below the minimum wage, it's a lot of money. So that's what has been happening. And also with other centers, there is a bit of, if I'd say, fraud. Yeah, because there are things that are happening in the centers, but somehow people just choose to keep quiet because you don't want to find yourself in, being a target as well, seeing what is happening around the country.
Yes, so it does appear at this point in time that you and thousands of others are actually caught between a rock and a hard place, and it's a difficult situation to be in right now, considering that many from Zimbabwe are in this country, with all the violence, with all the instability that had taken place in Zimbabwe, looking for a better life for yourselves and for your families. And I'm sure that there are many who are earning money in this country, whether it's a minimum wage. There are many that are working even for companies. And all of this now, as a result of this permit, going to basically create a scenario where you've got to go back to Zimbabwe. And it's actually a scary thought, I'm sure, for you, Mercy, as well, to go back and to throw away everything that you've worked hard for here in this country.
It's very scary, and it's creating a lot of anxiety for a person that has moved to South Africa in 2008. So we are looking at like basically like my adult life I spent in South Africa, and going back to Zimbabwe is like reintegrating into the society that you no longer know, and seeing that things haven't really changed. It's still, something that a lot of us would not consider to do. And I think, and I believe a lot of us would opt to be illegal immigrants and just to try find ways to navigate and live. And we are hoping that the minister would change his mind and probably offer us an extension or, consider renewing the permits, because from where I'm standing, we have also contributed to the South African economy to a certain extent. Some of us are taxpayers, and and we are also contributing positively in the communities that we live.
Mercy, how long have you been in South Africa? And I would assume that you've got a family, you've got children here, possibly even going to school.
Uh, I came to South Africa when I was 18. That was in 2008. So I've been in South Africa for 15 years. Yes, completed my matric year. I haven't been able to further my studies, but for the past 10 years that I've been here, because I had to focus on other things, and I've got a son that is turning 12 years old, and right now I'm pursuing my bachelor's degree in financial accounting via UNISA, of which, should I move to Zimbabwe, I will not be able to further my studies. One, the school fees is going to be, tuition fees is going to be expensive, probably double of what I'm paying at the moment, because I'm a self-funded student, which means I need a job in order to take care of my child, my family, and pay for my study fees as well. So that's where I'm at the
Yes.
moment.
And also, I think the mere fact that you would be considered illegal after the 30th of June, and for many others, that is now just halfway through the year, and there is always this fear and this threat of being deported out of the country, and it's not only about the parent. It's about the children as well. Their lives will be affected. Their lives will be uprooted halfway through the year, forced to leave school and go back and try and start all over again in Zimbabwe. That alone is it's a huge challenge, but also at the same time, it's very, very unsettling, Mercy.
It is because there are other children who have just known South Africa as their home. They were born here. The language they know best is one of the official languages in South Africa, of which these languages are not offered when you go back to Zimbabwe. And also, as we all know, that when you move from one country, there is some evaluation that happens in terms of the curriculum that you've been studying in another country. Chances are that kids that are coming from South Africa, they would have to repeat some certain grades, and just learning the language and everything is also going to be very, emotionally disturbing, because now the children have to learn the new language, the new lifestyle, getting used to reintegrate into the society, into these schools, of which they would probably experience some bullying as well, which can destroy their self-esteem. And yeah,
Well, definitely, and also the whole challenge of going back and trying to make a life for yourself, trying to find a job, and knowing what we know at this point in time. South Africa, we know the economy is bad, the state of joblessness is critical, but Zimbabwe is equally, in fact, even worse. And I suppose that would mean going back to Zimbabwe and being at a mercy of suffering the effects of poverty, suffering the effects of food instability, and all of this is going to be a major issue. Is going to be a major problem.
definitely, because prices are rising up every day, even in terms of money. Um, as you know, we don't have our own currency in Zimbabwe, and we are using the US dollar. People wake up in the morning to queue out, to queue at the bank, just to get the money that they have worked for. So now going back into that country where there is no circulation of money, you would think it's going to be easier if you go into an informal trading, but to be honest, it's very, very difficult. And most of our families, depend on the money that we spend when we work, and every month we send something to them. Then they'll be able to make a living, even though it's, it's not enough. But prices change every day. And today you are buying, even in terms of electricity, you have about 20 hours of no electricity, no water access. So it's a lot of things that are happening. And for us to just to move and go back, I don't see a lot of us doing that. And in terms of repatriation as well, we are not even so sure what the government is offering, because it says they would offer psychosocial support and help the people and the kids to reintegrate. But when you look at things, they are not able to sustain the people that in Zimbabwe already. So what is going to happen to people who are now coming back, and now you are coming back as this new person who has been away for a very long time? It just doesn't make sense.
Mercy, what level of engagement is taking place at this point in time with the South African authorities to extend the permit?
Please come again.
I said, what level of engagement is taking place with the South African authorities to extend the permit?
Okay, from my knowledge and understanding, it has been the court case, three court cases that have been brought in Johannesburg, and the judgment has been reserved. And also, civil society organizations have been writing letters to request that the minister extend the ZEP uh, this ZEP permit. I know Global South Against Xenophobia has written a letter, and also when the permits were terminated, there were about 42, if I'm not mistaken, of the number civil society organizations that have tried to engage with the minister with no luck. So right now, I think people have their fingers crossed to say and pray that the courts rules in favor of the ZEPs, and also believe and hope that the minister will also be lenient with ZEP holders, probably to extend, because even with this extension, um, it's not deemed as valid because it's not on paper. When you go to other institutions, they'll be like, your permit is expired. Yes, there is a directive to say it's still valid until to this day, but for the mere fact that it's no longer valid, the debt is different on paper. It's it's problematic. Even when it comes to banks, I cannot go to the bank and get a new bank card right now at the moment. They regard that permit as much as I'm still able to transact via my bank. They cannot offer me a new bank card because they say my permit is no longer valid.
Mm. Well, I can see all the complications that has been as a result of this permit and this decision by the minister. But Mercy, we trust and hope that all works out well. And for now, we thank you for taking time out, talking to us. We certainly will watch the space and we will follow these developments as they occur. But please take care, and we wish you all the best. And thank you once again for your time with us here on Salam Media.
Thank you very much.
Mercy Dube, holder of the Zimbabwe Exemption Permit, and with a month to go with the deadline looming, it'll be quite interesting to see what actually plays out in court. The time is just gone 9:32. We're going to go for a break. We'll be back.